part 3, the final part of our mindfulness album is what we're going to be focusing on. Now, if you have followed me through, you should be fairly up to date with what we're doing. Okay, all the videos so far are up on our YouTube channel, so do pop along and subscribe and like as well, because that really helps us build our community and keeps us going, so that's really great. Oh, you're on a oh, bless you, on a spa break, Susie. Oh, welcome, Gemma, as well. It's nice to hear. Gutted you're on a scar, so I will have to still try to pop in. That's absolutely fine, Susie. But all the videos, and including the ones for our, when we do the birthday live one, I will put up onto our YouTube channel as well. So you will have that, so you can sort of go back and recheck all of those. Now, last week we did quite a few pages. We did our side 3, side 4, side 5 and side 6. We got as far as decorating up to side 3. So what we will do is just go back and I'll show you the decorations that I've selected for those when we get to that point. We've got to finish off and make our section or our sides 7 and 8. So let me just show you, just as a little reminder, what they are. And then we will fix everything into our album as well. So side 7, okay, is our hidden front flap, as I call it, an inside pocket. So we've got a little flap there. This is magnetised. That opens up. We've got our little pages. We've got a little pocket here with a little couple of photo mats. So that's one side that we're going to be finishing tonight. And then the final one is our acetate pocket. And if you lift that up, you've got another place to put a photo there, and then you've got a little flap here and a little pocket there as well. And that is what we need to crack on and get on with. Hi Teresa, welcome. So let's just pop that to one side. We'll come back to that if we need to. Right, let's get cracking. Now, so you should have, out of all your papers that you've pre-cut already, one base page left, okay? And you need to make sure that you've scored on the long side coming down here the 1/2 inch. So that's going to be the hinge bit that is going to attach to our album, okay? So you need to have that. These are my papers. We'll just put them back on there for the moment. Okay, we've also got side 7, so we've got a left flap, we've got a side pocket. There's quite a few bits to this. We've got a right flap and we've got a front flap. Okay, so let's start off with our left flap first and our right flap. So that's the left flap, that's the right flap, and we're going to score those as we go along. Okay. Please let me know if you're carrying along with me as well, and if I'm going too fast, just let me know and I'll slow it down a bit. Okay, so left flap, here we are. So we need to score on the 3 3/4 side 1/2 inch. So this is 4, so I need to turn that round, 3 3/4 side. So we're just doing the 1/2 inch, and that is going to create the flap for us. Okay. And then on the right flap here, which is just a square, okay, that's all it is, 4 3/4 inch square. We literally just need to do a 1/2 inch down like so. Okay, so we've scored those two. Right, I'm just trying to get my instructions because they go over the page. Right, here we are. Let's stick those back up. That's it, so that they're not in the way. Lovely. Right, then we've got our side pocket, which is this one, which is 5 3/4 by 2 1/2 inches, and we're going to score 1/2 inch on the 3 sides. Now, because it's a pocket, we're going to come down and do the smaller side first. Hi, Samantha, welcome. Oh, Susie, you're joining along. Lovely. Right, we're going to do a 1/2 inch now. Turn around and do a 1/2 inch on that side, and then we're going to do the 1/2 inch on that side. And as you know, we've done quite a few pockets, so when we come to do that, you should should be fairly confident now with your pockets. Okay, and then the front flap, which is this one, which is 6.5 by 4 1/4. We are going to score 1/2 inch on the, here we go, we're going to score on the 6.5 inch side 3 1/4. So basically we are doing that as we're going to be folding that in half, okay, because that's going to create the front flap, and that's all our scoring done for this side. So we'll just pop that out the way. Now, because I've written on that, I'm just going to grab the pencil mark out there, because I don't want that showing when I stick my pages on. Oh, I've been so excited today. It's silly, isn't it? I know, but you know, it's a big milestone, us having our 5th birthday. Right, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to fold this in half. This is our front flap. I'll get my lovely burnish tool. I'm just going to give that a nice sharp edge on there. And what I've done on my one is I've corner rounded it. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do on this one. I'm going to corner round, and I've done it on both sides because obviously when we pick it up, when we lift it up off the page, which we'll see in a minute, you'll see all the corners. So we're going to do the 2 front ones. I'll turn that around. We're going to do this one, and then we're going to turn it over, and we're going to do the other 2. Tuck that in, and our final one, we're going to pop that in like so. Okay, so that is our front flap bit done. Okay, our side pockets and our 2 flaps, so we'll just bring those here. We're going to need to put the red liner tape on, so let's get that done. We'll get everything prepped before we come to put it together. So I'm just going to pop this along. Oh, come on, scissors, stick. I cleaned everything today, and because it's always getting a little bit gungy with the glue and everything, so it all feels nice to cut with. There we go. And we're going to do this side like so. Here we are. Right, so that's that. We'll burnish those in just a moment, and then we're just going to do the 2 flaps. Oh, that's an interesting fact. Another company posted today it was their 5th year birthday too, and about opening during the pandemic. Yes, I mean we did. I mean we didn't. I mean we've been planning this for a while, I'll be honest. You know, I think it just happened to fall naturally in amongst the when it was a pandemic. It wasn't necessarily our intention to do that, but I think everybody, you know, had time. They weren't allowed out, so it just seemed a natural occurrence for us to start our little company then. And I suppose the significance of it being sort of during the pandemic and the fact that we are still going is great, you know, and that just makes everything so much easier for us. Okay, so once you've put your red liner tape on, we'll deal with the pocket. We're just going to cut across here where the score lines cross over. So we're cutting to that cross, and then I'm just going to give it a little wonky bit. And then we're going to cut across, and we'll give it a little bit of a wonky bit. Let's just tidy up as we go along. And then we're just going to fold back on our, let's put that punch there, fold back on there, and fold back like so. And our final side, so that's our pocket, that's the side pocket. And then we've got the right flap, so I'm just going to fold that back, and we're just going to give that a nice crease. And then the left side. And I think we've pretty much got everything done. Now, what I will say is that when we come to assemble this, and I'll just show you in the original album, okay, is that when we come to stick the front bit on, you will need to have your patterned paper already cut for your left flap side, okay, because this bit, the front flap, actually gets stuck on to that. So if you haven't done that, or you haven't got your pattern papers cut ready, don't panic, okay? You can sort of catch up and do that bit a bit later. But just to let you know that I will now be sticking on my patterned paper before I put on my front flap, okay, when I come to put this together. All right, so I'm just going to pop that to one side. And just got to find out, now these are all the papers that I pre-cut, so they are for, that's for the inside. I think that was the one that was going to go on the outside for the left flap. Let's have a little look. Yes, that's right, because I've got all the greens and that on the inside. Okay, so I'll just pull that to one side. Now, with any of my papers, as I've said before, I distress ink all the way around the outside, and I've just faux stitched on there as well. So that is going to stick onto there, and then the front flap will then come and sit about halfway over the top of that. Okay, so that's what we're aiming for. So let's get our base page. Let's get our pocket, our flaps and our pocket stuck in first before we do the front flap. So here we are, side pocket, side flap rather, left side, and we're just going to stick it, I don't know if you can see here, where we've got that score line, that's our hinge bit. So we're just going to pop this flap just in front of that so it doesn't catch on that hinge bit as it folds. And actually I'm just going to give that a little crease just so I can see where that ends. Okay, and then that's just going to stick on like so. So we'll get that bit done first, and like I've done before, I'm going to peel that off. I'm going to add a little bit of glue just to help me with the wiggle room if I need it. And we're just going to pop that on there like so, and I'm making sure that I've got these edges of this side flap here lined up with the base page. There we go. And as you can see, I've just left a little bit of a gap there, so that's just sticking down nicely. And while I've got the glue, I might as well stick this on now. We're just going to stick this on. Okay, there we are. So you can see it easier when we come to put the rest of it on. Okay, and again, I normally allow about 1/8 of an inch black all the way around. Just put my hand under there so I can see. Whoops. So I promise I've not been on the wine yet, honestly. Right, we'll just pop that on there like so, and because it's directional paper, I'm just making sure that I have put it on the right side, because that will attach, and that's all good. Okay, and I'm going to get the right flap, which is going to come on the other side, so I'm just going to turn that round, and again I'm just going to line that up on the bottom. All right, so we're just going to do that. Do I need a little bit of glue on there? Yeah, I better. Just to keep it. Here we go. Like so. Just line that up, make sure that lines up with the edge and the two top end bits. That's good, that comes over, that all lines up nice and straight. There we are. And I'm just going to open it right up, and this is our little pocket. So this is the base page, this is the right flap, so I'm opening up the right flap to then stick the side pocket on the inside. Okay, so we're just going to peel a little bit of this. Let's put that red liner tape in the bin, there we go. And again, I'm just going to come in just a fraction. I haven't put glue on here, I'm going to go for it. Be a little devil now. Right, I'm going to stick that down. Okay, and because it's a little pocket, I'm just going to put a little bit of construction tape or tiger tape. But as I've said before, if you haven't got anything like this, as long as it's acid free, you could use washi tape or what have you. Okay. That's fine. That just helps that smooth transition of papers going in and out. And now we're just going to take off these two side bits. Oops. It's very muggy tonight. I don't know if any of you are feeling it. Everything is sticking to my fingers. Okay, I'm just going to pop that down like so. Okay. So our base page should look like, there's our back of the base page, that's our right side with our side pocket, that folds over and then that folds over, and then this is going to stick on the top here. Okay, now we have got a few magnetic bits in here, so I'm just going to bring this in. So the magnets, I can just feel it here because I want that to close down there. There's a magnet there. There's a magnet on the back side of that, which will then hold that down on like so. Okay, so when we come to hold these down, so I've got one. Should I put a magnet in there? No, I didn't actually, thinking about it. 1, 2, yeah, because that holds in on the back and that goes down onto that. Yes, I did. I think I said for 2 sets of magnets. Let me just check my instructions. Yes, 2 sets of magnets. So I did do 2. 1 on that side, 1 on the back side of that, which will hold that down in place. Actually, I've got that in the middle there, so that would be a good plan. So that's what we're going to do. So we'll put our magnets on next. Okay. Now, where did I put them? Here they are. I'm stuck to everything. So I want 1 set and another set. Now, if you don't have any magnets, you can sort of get away with using the Velcro dots, certainly on the outside flap if you wanted to, but that's really your choice. So I'm just going to separate those from the knit. Now, when this comes on here, this is going to stick directly on here, and I had it centered to the base page. Okay, and what I need to do is just put glue on half of that because the other half will be overlapping. So it's just put a bit of glue in. Now you can measure this if you wish. Okay, hi Barbara, welcome. And let's, who else should we say hello to? Who else has come on? Trudy, welcome. All right, and I'm just going to tuck that down on there about half. Now, if you're unsure about just going for it, like I've just done, then you can sort of measure it. But there we are. And if I turn that over, it's just a tiny little bit of glue there. There we go. So that's near. That's not too bad. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 1 magnet in here and at this end so that when that closes down, that will hold that in place. Okay, so we'll do that. And I'm just going to pop the magnet on. I'm going to use a little bit of the construction tape just to hold that in place. And I'm doing that sort of centered, but just about 1/4 of an inch up from the bottom, because when I put the card on, I want to make sure that that covers that. I'm just going to pop that magnet on. Then with a little bit of glue, we're just going to give that little dob on there. hold that down like so. Now I know where I need to stick the magnet on the other side. So I turn that magnet over, stick that down with the glue. Just move you over just a little bit. And I'm just going to put a bit of construction tape on there as well, making sure that I haven't gone over that 1/8 of an inch that will be on the edge of that. Okay, so let's just test that. Perfect. Okay, I now need to put a magnet on the back here because it needs to be able to hold that down as well. So again, we're going to pop the magnet on there. Just going to put a little bit of construction tape just to hold that in situ. There we go. All right, and I'm just going to tag a little bit of glue on there. Oh no, I forgot to put my magnet on, didn't I? Right, we'll take that glue off, we'll put the magnet on, we'll put that glue back on. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to fold that over, press that down. Now I can see where that magnet needs to go. I'm going to stick that down and add a little bit of construction tape over the top of that to stop that from moving. And then hopefully, she says, fingers crossed, it should hold it all together. So we've got the one magnet here holding that flap down there, and then we've got this one which is holding the whole page together. Okay, just going to give that a nice score down there. That's okay. All right, so while we've got this page, we might as well put the little decoration on while I've got it. So I thought the Wanderlust looks really cool on the front here. So I think I'll just stick that on. Now, obviously with any papers or anything like that, I always sort of look at the images and the colours just to make sure that they blend well together. And that's quite handy if you buy a paper range that has quite a lot of different elements. Unfortunately, this particular pack that I had didn't have any 3x4 cards, so I've had to cut down some papers to decorate this. Right, on the inside, I've just gone for some lined card in there. So this is really good for doing some journaling. Okay. Now, obviously, if you haven't cut out your patterned papers now, don't panic. You can catch this later. I've just got glue all over the side. Right, let's just pop that on there like so. Just make sure that sits nicely like that. There's a glue all over my desk there, and then I'm just going to turn this round and stick this other one on. And like I corner rounded the outsides, I've done exactly the same there as well. Now, it's obviously important that when I stick this one on, that it is in line with the other bit that I've stuck down. Okay, it's just that little attention to detail. It just gives it a professional look. Okay, so I'm just going to tuck that down. Just going to turn that to the side just to make sure I've got the gap even on there. Right, and there we are. So that now closes over, and then we're going to open up. And these are all my other bits that I've already prepared. So it's just a case of sticking these down. Now I like this bit of paper. It's got lots of lovely words on it. It's got journey, vacation, traveller, capture, wanderlust. So it's got some really lovely words on there. So I'm going to put that one. Makes a funny sound, that, doesn't it? Right, okay, I'm going to pop that on the front of the right hand side of the outer pocket. Okay, so when that closes over, you can see that the colours blend in just nicely. And then this bit of blue here is why I've used the bluey greens, I suppose we call it like turquoises, to go on the inside. So again, it just sort of matches it all in. So we're going to open that up. And this one, just going to tuck there. Now I've just noticed I didn't actually corner round that. And I've gone ahead and done it all straight. So before I stick it, let's do that. So I'm just going to trim that off. I'm going to get my little ink bit. There we go. I've got my little pen. I'm just going to bring that round. There we go. Happens to the best of us. Doesn't seem to be unsticking barely glue. Oh, I've not used the barely glue, Susie. That's an interesting thing. I've not used that before, so I'll be perfectly honest. I'm not 100% sure how strong that glue is. Is this for something that we did last week, or is this now? But the heat gun trick normally does work. The only other thing I can think of is maybe putting a bit of greaseproof paper down and just running a warm iron over it, depending on what piece of card it is, and see whether that will work or not. But right, okay, so that's stuck on there. This is my back page. Now this, what have I done with that, Deb? Have I cut that too? I've cut that too short. Right, we'll come back to the best laid plans and all that, because I pre-cut everything and now I can't see what I've done now. Right, okay, that bit I know definitely goes into there, so I'm going to tuck that bit in there. Perhaps I'll need to come back. Oh, I know what that is for something else. Just realised. It's okay. Right. Happens. Oh, is it good, Susie? I've not. Oh, yeah. Oh, now. Oh, bless you. Right, okay, so we're going to tuck that in like so. That's just tucking into the pocket. I'm just lining that up with the fold. That goes right in. Now the reason why I always do my pockets first and then put the paper in afterwards, it just covers up those flaps of the pocket that have gone round, and it just helps with that nice smooth transition of stuff going in and out. And just going to glue this bit on. So Susie, tell me, what have you stuck down then? What are you trying to lift? Bless her. Happens to the best of us, honestly. Right, okay. Right, that's down there. And then this bit, making sure we get it up the right way, sits on there. I think of that, actually thinking about it, I think that should have gone in there, but for some reason I've cut it too short. So I'm not going to panic about that. I'm just going to leave that blank and I'll come back and do that bit later. I'm just going to check my measurements, make sure that I wrote them correctly on our instructions, though, just so that I don't want any of you, it's probably me, getting my inches muddled up. Right, okay, so let's stick that on, like so. That's okay. All right, that wraps in and that's across. So I think my measurements initially for the patterned paper, let me have a little look. Back page was 6 inches by 4.5. I think I've cut it at 4. It looks like I've cut it at 4. Yeah, okay, it's completely correct on your sheet of paper. It's me who's messed up. I've cut it at 4 inches and it should be 4.5, but I did cut it at 6. Never mind, I will come back and redo that. Ah, okay. Susie, if that's the case, you didn't put the pattern paper down first, you could just cut out a little gap out of that piece, and then so when you come to stick it down, if this is the bit that you're talking about, okay, is I would just cut a little bit out of your pattern paper and just lightly lift your edges and tuck it in underneath, if that helps. Okay, we all make mistakes. I've just made one. I've cut the wrong bit of paper size for my page, but there we are. Right, I'm just checking to make sure I've still got some of that paper to hand. So while we're just waiting for everybody to sort out what they're doing, let me just have a little look in my papers just to see if I had any more of that lovely. Yes, I have. Okay, right, so I'm going to cut this out like so. Okay, and I need to cut this 6 inches by 4.5. So let's just do this. So I'm just going to cut 4.5. Right, as my granddad would say, measure twice, cut once. So back page, 6 inches, 4.5. So we're doing it 4.5 because I want the waves going that direction. There we go. That's 4.5. And we're just going to cut that by 6, like so. Happens to the best of us. Okay, right, let's pop that out of the way. Okay, so I'm just going to ink. This is a good time for me to show you, if none of you see me do the distress inking before. This is black soot. I'm just going to go round and just lightly. Now the reason why we do this is to cover up the white core bits on the paper itself, or the card, whatever you're using to decorate with, and it also just helps it blend into the background as well. And then for my faux stitching, I tend to use it's a micron pen. It's 0.5. Okay, but to be perfectly honest, if you've got any other fine black pens, then use those. And I'm just going to put little dashes all the way along. There are lots of different ways that you can do faux stitching, but I'm just using the little stitched one. So I'm just going to pop this along here and along here, and I think I'll probably do one of my little Master It Mondays. Have you seen those? I've been putting up a few extra little things on our Facebook page, that not every Monday, but on the odd occasional Monday, we're going to do a Master It Monday. So it's going over tips, hints, techniques, all of those sort of things. And I think one of the first ones I might do is we'll have a little look at faux stitching and all the different types of faux stitching that you can do to sort of decorate off your pages and stuff. So do keep an eye out for that. That's our little Master It Mondays. And I've also introduced as well, I'm just finishing off this, our Throwback Tuesdays. And again, not every week, but on the odd Tuesday that I'll be coming on doing, we'll be looking at projects that I might have done previously Okay, and oh, there we are, that's perfect now. And yeah, so I've been putting those on, and I think that one of the first albums that I ever made was the Great Outdoors album, and I know some of you quite liked the Christmas, the big one, the Christmas album as well, that I put up a little while ago. And we're going to go back and have a little look at those, and then I've created an album sort of using elements from the two, which will be coming up soon, so just keep an eye out for that. Oh, there we are. Now that looks a lot better. Okay. Oh, Samantha, yeah, sending out the Candyland ones. Oh, that paper is just superb. If you haven't had a look on our website, do go in and click on the new button, because then it brings up all the new products that we've had. I absolutely fell in love with it. In fact, I did try to sneak some out, but I was caught. I did try and sneak some of that paper out, but I think I might be able to get some new stuff. So and we'll have a little play with that, hopefully. Fingers crossed, if nobody's watching, I can sneak some out. Right, okay. But yes, it's absolutely lovely. Oh, you love the Christmas one, yes. So I'm going to sort of try and look at doing something along with that as well. Okay, so that is our side 7 done, with our little front flap there and our insides. And you've got the little pocket there for putting little photo mats. Okay, and I've readjusted my papers. So there we go. So that all works beautifully. Okay, are we ready? It's on your want list now. Excellent. Okay, are we ready now for our final page, which is our acetate page with flap and pocket? I do apologise for these headings, but there was no other way to describe it really. So we are looking at this one, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to make the frame bit, okay? And here we've got a little flap there and another little side pocket. So that's what we're focusing on. And I have put a couple of magnets in there as well, another 2 sets of magnets going in on either corner here, so that they will hold down nicely. So let's get our papers and we'll get those scored up. Ready? Here we go. So that's the back page. Here we are. And I just need, I'll take those, they're the papers for that. Well, that's my bit of acetate. So I'm going to lose that, because if I lose my acetate on here, I can't find it. Right, okay. So what have we got there? We've got a side pocket. We've got the left flap. We've got the top flap, and we've got the photo frame. So let's start off with the easy bits first. Let's do the left flap first, and we're going to score that. I'm going to get our little scoreboard. Okay, so the left flap we score on the 5-inch side, 1/2 inch coming down here. So we're going to score that down there. And then obviously we're going to put some red liner tape on there. So I'm just going to put that to one side. We've got our little side pocket, and because we've got our little pocket, okay, that's 5 5/8, and we're going to score 1/2 inch round all 3 sides, like we do for all of our pockets, and that will have some red liner tape on there, like so. Okay, so we'll pop that to one side. We've then got our top flap, so we're scoring on the 5 1/4 side, the 1/2 inch. So that's just going to come down, okay, because that will sit on our page just nicely like that. That's going to have red liner tape. And now the pocket itself, okay, the photo frame bit. So here's the photo frame. So for this one we are scoring on 1/2 inch on 3 sides. Okay, now the 3 sides we are doing is because this side here will attach down to our page, so we need to score on the 1/2 inch on the long edge here, 1 inch side down, and then the other side, I do believe. Let me just double check. Don't go ahead just yet. Let me just double check. I'll be honest. How did I do this? Let me have a little look. So I scored it on 2, 3 sides. Yeah, got it. Just double checking. Right, okay. So we're going to do the 2 long sides. Okay, and then we're going to do 1/2 inch down that short side, and then we're going to do the long side down there. Okay, so in effect, when we come to put this on our page, we've got the opening on this side. All right, so we've scored everything. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add our red liner tape. Okay, so I'm just going to put this again around on the 3 sides. Now the reason why I'm doing this at the moment is so that I can see when before we even cut out our frame bit, just so that I can see where we're going to be cutting this, and I'll explain all in just a moment. Okay, so I'm just going to put that, let's move that up a bit so you can see what I'm doing. 1, 2, 3. We're just going to add all our red liner tape on, like so. And then our side, our top flap, here we go. Oops. Come along the top. There we are. So, and then we've got our side pocket, so that's got 3 little bits going round. Just cut those off. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Right, and I'll just do the final side on this side. Now, did any of you guys see that Craftywafty, we went on a little road trip last week? We went all the way up to a place called Wansford, not far from Peterborough, where we met up with the lovely ladies from Cool Cats Craft, and we met the lovely Paul Langford. Has been a great inspiration for me over a number of years. I've watched his videos and stuff like that. So it was like a little bit of my hero, really. But it was really nice to meet him, and we've done some collaboration. I know Samantha, that I met the man, and we because he's been doing a little bit of collaboration stuff with us, so he is working on something else for us, which will be coming out soon, so watch this space as well. But yes, and the Cool Cats Craft ladies as well, they were absolutely lovely, and I do like a lot of their dyes, and I do sort of utilise those quite a bit as well. So, but yeah, really lovely. It's just a shame we couldn't stay as long as we wanted, but you know, we got there in the end, and that was great. Okay, now I'm just going to move all of that out of the way because I want you to be able to see this quite clearly. This is a photo frame. Okay, this bit here is going to be our opening. Okay, and what we're going to do is we are going to create a 1/2 inch frame. Okay, now I'm just going to, because these bits are going to fold back on themselves, so this will be the back bit, so I'm just going to flip that over because I'm going to draw the pencil lines on here. So because this is our open edge, I can cut that, I can draw a line there for the 1/2 inch. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to draw a 1/2 inch. So let's just line that up. And this is a rough guide, all right? So I'm just drawing a 1/2 inch, and I'm not worried about the pencil line because it's now going to be on the inside. But when I turn these round, obviously we've got the 1/2 inch here, which is the bit that's going to fold back, but I still need to do a 1/2 inch from there. So this bit is now going to be 1 inch. Okay, so all the sides that I've scored on, I need to draw a 1 inch line. Okay, so let's just line those up. I'm just going to draw these in pencil first, and then I can show you a bit clearer. And then I'm going to, because we've got the end of the pocket, that's going to be another 1 inch, and then the side here is 1 inch. So I'll just draw these on because I'm after a 1/2 inch. Okay, right, let's just move that on, line that up like so. Okay, so as you can see, this is our edge of our pocket, okay, which I've come in at the 1/2 inch, but this is the scored bit that comes all the way round to create the pocket, and I've come in 1 inch from those 3 sides with the scored pocket. Okay, now I've done that, I can now cut out that centerpiece. Okay, so when you look at it from the other side, you can't see that, but basically when these fold over, they're going to line up, and you can see that. So let's just cut these out. I'm going to use these as my guide, because now I've drawn my pencil lines on, I can take my knife right up to that drawn pencil line coming across there, and I can stop it just as I come down to this one here. Okay, and we're going to do exactly the same on here. Whoops, pencil, don't need you, thank you. And I'm going to come down to where I've drawn that pencil line. Okay, don't matter if it doesn't, that's it, it will just pop out a little bit. And I'm just going to, so this is probably the fiddliest bit to do, this bit. Okay, I know you guys can do this. I'm going to take that down to that edge there. So you can see we've got a little bit of a flap going there. And then this one is the 1/2 inch, because it's at that side edge. And then I'll show you what it looks like. So we'll just line that up. There we are. Okie dokie. Right, into that pocket. So don't throw that away, because you can trim that down and use that as a photo mat. Okay. So here we go. Now, because this is a pocket, in effect, we need to cut off our corners. And again, a cut across to the crossover part, and then just a little bit of a wonky bit there. And we're going to cut across to the scored line bits, crossed over, and there we are. So let's just throw these bits away. So you should end up with something looking a bit like this. Okay, so you can see where my pencil marks were, where I drew it on the inside. We've got the flaps here. These will fold back over to create the pockets. Okay, so I'm just folding those back, because this is what we're going to be sticking onto our thing, and then you end up with your frame. Sorry, is this on the pocket or the frame? Where do we cut? You're cutting it, I've called it the photo frame. Okay, so what you're going to be doing is, so this was the big piece of cardstock, the 6" by where are we, the 6 3/4 inch by 5 3/4 inch. Okay, Susie, and you should have scored 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. Okay, and then when you come to cut it, well, you draw in your pencil line. So you do 1/2 inch pencil line going across from the edge, which has got no score line on it. And then the one that has got the score bit, where I've stuck the red liner tape, you come in at 1 inch, then 1 inch, then 1 inch, because when you cut your pockets and you cut that center out, that's what's going to create your frame. So the bit that you're going to cut out is the rectangular bit that you drew in the middle. Okay, all right, so where that sat there in the middle, so you're cutting out where I drew those pencil lines going across the 1/2 inch and then the 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch. That's the bit that you cut out, this centre bit. Does that make sense, Susie? Do you need me to go over that again? Just let me know. Hi Beryl, welcome. Hi Jackie, hope you're feeling better. Okay, so yeah, so that's what's cutting out. Okay, so from that photo frame piece, okay, that's the bit that you should be working on. Okay, that's what's coming out. Okay, because your pocket, you was talking about your pocket, is the small little pocket. Okay, and that goes on the inside. All right, hopefully she's okay. Right, now what I'm going to do is the acetate. Now, I don't know about you, I tend to buy quite a few stamps, and I put them, got it, perfect, thank you Susie. And often or not, I transfer my stamps over into some stamp folders that I've got. So all the acetate bits that normally stick over the top of my stamps, I hang on to because they're great for utilising for making your albums. And then I just trim them down, and then I'm going to cut them in to fit like so. So just to save yourself a bit of money, maybe not quite as strong as acetate sheets if you bought them, but it does the job just as well. So that's my little tip. Now I'm going to add a slightly thinner red liner tape, but you and I'm just going to run this round. Right, let me just put that there for a minute so I can see where it is. Right, this is the frame. So let's say this is the outside because it's got the red liner tape on it on the outside, okay? And that's where we've trimmed our pockets. I'm now going to turn it over because I'm going to put the acetate on the inside, and then these flaps are going to fold over like so, okay? So because of that, I'm going to run some red liner tape all round that edge of the frame. Right, and I did have the end, and now I've lost it. There it is. Right, okay. So, and I'm going to put this as close to that edge as I can. I'm just going to snip that. Okay, and I'm going to go all the way round. And because I want the acetate to sit nicely, I'm going to make sure that I cover and do all 4 sides. Okay. And just going to take this along here. Oops, not quite as straight as I liked on that one, never mind. And then the final bit is going to come down this front bit here. Like so. Okay, got a bit of an overlap there. Let's just trim that back missing a tiny little bit there, but I don't think that's going to matter too much. Right, okay. So I'm just going to burnish. So this is now the inside of the frame, and I've got my bit of acetate, and I'm just going to make sure that when I drop that down, that's going to cover all that red liner tape. If I've got a tiny little bit poking out, which I have down just here, I'm just going to pull that back and snip that, because what I don't want is the red liner tape sticking out over and beyond the acetate, because then when you come to put the pocket together or the frame together, it's gonna stick to the back of the page, and we don't want that. So I don't know if you can see here, there's a red liner tape going all the way around. Here's my acetate pocket, which fits over there just nicely on that red liner tape. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel off one bit first. I'm not going to put any glue on here, and the reason being is that the glue will splodge out all over. Oh, hold on, it says. The glue will splodge out all over the acetate and it will smear it. So I'm just going to line that up on there, like so. And once I've got one side down, that's right up against that edge, that's fine. I can now remove the rest of the acetate, the red liner tape rather, underneath the acetate. Okay. And I'm just going to do the other side, like so. Just going to give that a good seal, and then I've got this bit coming down here. Now I've noticed I've come over just a fraction on that, so you probably won't need to, but I'm just going to trim that down because I really want that to stick on that red liner tape. Just trim that down. Okay, that'll be perfect. Right, now I can't pick it up. There we go. Oh. Right, and now I can take off that last little bit of the acetate, like so. Okay, and there is the acetate stuck down to the red liner tape. I'm just giving that a little burnish. Now if you've got any smears or anything, now's the time to give it a little clean. Okay, I normally just wipe it over with a baby wipe, just to and a tissue, just to make sure I've got nothing static attached to it. In this house we have a cat. And trust me, I get lots of cat fur everywhere, so sometimes invariably I have to do that. Right, and that is our frame done. Hopefully everybody's okay with that. You can see we've got so that's the acetate on the inside stuck down. This is the fold bit over, that's going to attach to the back page to make our pocket. Okay, and then we can move on with the other bits and pieces. So let's just pull those all back. Okay, this is our page. So just make sure I've got the page up the right way. So this, all good, thanking you. Right, okay. So in essence, we're going to have that stuck on our flap bit here. So we're going to do this bit first, okay? So this is our top flap. So I'm just going to fold back on the score line. There we go. Okay. So this is the top flap. That's got the red liner tape on the back because that's going to become our hinge for going up and down, and the pocket, or the frame pocket, is going to sit on top of that. Okay, Now, bearing in mind, a couple of things just to point out is, first of all, make sure your page is up the right way. So I'm going to fold that with the hinge to the right hand side. Your top flap, obviously you should have the little bit that we're going to stick down, the little flap bit here. The scored bit will sit on the top of the pocket like so, and your open end of your frame should be facing to the left hand side. Okay, so that when we stick this all together, okay, that will stick on there nicely, and then the flap will then open up, and then you've got easier access in and out for your frame. So what we're going to do is we're going to stick this down onto the top flap first. So I'm just turning that round, and I'm going to, again, like I do with all my pockets, I'm going to start with the bottom one, and this is going to come right down to the edge of that flap. Okay, I will put a little bit of glue on here, just a fraction. Okay, so here we go, just a little bit of glue. Okay, so bearing in mind that that's where I'll fold that out so you can see where the red liner tape is on that top flap. Okay, but I'm going to line this up, and I'm going to line it up into that pocket corner, or into that flap corner, and that pocket will go in like so. Okay, that's going to stick down like so. So you can see that. I'm going to put a little bit of tape like I normally do on any of my pockets, just on the inside there, just to help. And then that's going to fold down, and we're going to stick those sides down. Now you're probably wondering about the bit at the back. Well, I'm going to do, well, you can do this one of two ways. Personally, I like to attach it at the end and put it in, and that's what I'm going to do. But if you felt that that was going to be a bit tricky for you, then you could stick it down and have your flaps stuck on top of it. But we're not going to do that. We're going to go this way. All right, I'm going to take off the red liner tape on both sides like so, and I'm going to run just a little bit of glue down here. Let's just run that all the way along, and all the way along on there. And I'm just going to fold that now. I want to make sure that I line up that pocket to the edge there, come across and line that up there. And there we are. Okay, and that is our photo frame on the flap. I'm just going to give those a good crease, make sure that's nice and sharp edges on there. Okay, now this part is now going to attach to the top there, but you might find it easier to put your paper in while you've just got the one piece to deal with, so that's what we're going to do. Okay, which bit did I have? I think I had that as the frame. I think I had that bit going in as the picture. That's the frame on the outside. Okay, so this bit will tuck in and be glued down like so. So even though there's not a picture in there at the moment, it looks quite nice because it looks like you've got a picture in there already. So I'm going to put some glue on the back here, and then I'm going to slide that in and stick that down already. Okay, making sure I've got it up the right way. So let's get some glue like so. And what I find is that although this is a little bit fiddly, I think it just, like I've said before, it gives it a good finish. All right, and I'm just going to you can see now why I haven't stuck that onto the page. I can just slide that in like so. I can check to see that I've got a nice straight line on the edge there. I'm just going to hold that down, and what you can do is just get a ruler or something just to go in and just to really press that down, and so that's nice and even. There we are. Okay, and that is the inside of the pocket done. Right, how's everybody doing? Are we all okay? Right, let's crack on then with the last couple of pieces. So we're going to stick the frame on onto our page. So this is going to be the top of our base page up here. That's going to stick on like so. So we're going to pop that on. I'm just going to take the red liner tape off. I'm going to add a little bit of glue just to give me a bit of wiggle. There we are. Okay, I'm just going to turn this upside down. So the page is upside down. It's just easier for me to line this up. That's why I've turned it upside down. And I'm just going to line it up with the corner of the page, like so. And that's holding that in place. There we are. All right, so we've got the pocket, we've got that at the edge of our page, that opens up. So let's stick that down. And then we've got our flap to add. So I do believe the flap is on the left hand side. Let's just hold that in. That's it. Make sure that's glued down. So with the flap, I'm going to fold that back. Now I don't think I corner rounded the flap on here. So that's now going to sit on there. Okay, so there's our frame, there's the opening. So it's coming this side of the page. There's the hinge, just so that you know which way round we're going. Okay, so I'm just going to attach this like so, and again just lining that up like so. There we are. So there's the flap that goes over like so, and then the other side is where we're going to put the little pocket. Okay, so here we are with the pocket. I've not cut these down yet, so just a reminder, cut across the score lines where they cross over. Gives a little wonk on the other cut, and then we'll cut in and like so. There we go. And you should all be used to doing lovely pockets by now. Okay, and we're just going to crease those down. And again, I'm going to stick the pocket on here. Like so. Okay. Right, and the side pocket is going to come in. Now, when I put the side pocket on, I just make sure that I am in line with the flap coming down. So I'll make sure that I've stuck that correctly, and making sure that when that flap comes over, it's in line with that as well. Okay. So all this little attention to detail, that's what we love. Okay, I'm just going to add a little bit of glue on here. Okay, and I'm just going to line that pocket up. Make sure that's nice and level. Let's just turn it around on the side so we can get a better look. Flap comes across, that fits just nicely. Like so. And I've just got to do the sides. I'll just put my little strip of construction tape. Hi Lily, welcome. Where have you been? Just to give you a heads up, Lily, who's just joined us, is my niece. She's probably been working, bless her. Okay, right, and we'll just pop these on here. Oh, let's open up so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. Oh, red line of tape is going everywhere. Right, okay, and now we're just going to fold down those pockets there. And there we have our basic final page. So you've got your frame, and then we've got our bit to go inside the flap, and then we've got the little pocket. But what we do need to do is add our magnets before we do any decoration. And the magnets are going in these two corners here, so that when they fold down, they will hold down in place, okay? So let me find my magnets, which is what I'm now picking up all my little clips. I told you about these little clips. I love these little clips. They're just so handy for getting all your papers together for when you're doing projects and stuff like that. Okay. So first magnet. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these on here on the flap bit at the top where the frame is, okay? And I'm making sure that I'm coming in a good 1/4 of an inch round, because obviously when I put the paper on, that's going to give me an 1/8 of an inch round on that. Let's just snip that so I get a nice straight. Oh, come here, magnet. There we go. So I'm just going to stick that on there so that I know that when the paper goes on, it's going to cover that bit. Put the magnet on. A little bit of glue. So fold that over so I can see where that's going to go. Is it going to go in there to squish that enough? Yep. Right, fold that down, and then a little bit of tape just to, that's it, got a nice corner on that. That will just hold that in place. Let's just check that, make sure that works okay, it's not moved. Yeah, hear that lovely little click sound. And then I'm going to do exactly the same on this side. Hi Sandra, welcome. Glad you've seen other names popping up, which is lovely. Welcome. Just, like I said though, for any of you that have joined us that haven't seen any of these are all now on the parts 1 and 2 are now on our YouTube channel. So do pop over and feel free to watch them, and give us a little like. Will be lovely. Right, just pop a little bit of glue on there, and then I'm just going to fold that over, push that down so we know where the glue is. There we are. That now sticks on, and just a little bit of tape, and there we go. And now those magnets should hold in place. Yay! Am I that sad that I get excited about magnets working? I think I may be. Okay, I'm allowed to. It's our birthday today. I'm allowed to be a bit daft. Right, not that I'm not daft normally anyway. Okay, let's just put the frame to one side for the minute to decorate that. We're going to decorate the inside. Okay, so I've got that to go in there. Just double check. I think this is the, oh no, actually that was going to go at the top. That one was going to come inside the pocket. I'm just trying to make sure that that fits in nicely. Okay, that works. And then I've got all the other elements to go in. Okay, So I'm going to stick these down first. Because now we've put the magnets in, we know that we're okay to go ahead and do all our gluing and sticking and making it look pretty. Okay. Right, tuck that in. There we go. Gently does it and gets to a point where it stops. I can just line that up. Make sure that that's nice and level. And it's got our rough 1/8 of an inch going round it. Perfect. And I've gone for little dots here. So I'm going to put that on our side pocket bit. Like so. Here we go. And again, important to make sure that you line up your paper edges along the top with the base page. So that's what I've done there. Okay, and then now then, which side? I think I was going for that on the inside. Trouble is, I cut these papers out weeks ago. I should have written on the back which side I was meant to be doing. Does your left flap meet the pocket edge or go past? It meets the pocket edge. So, Deborah, so when you stick your pocket, the edge of your pocket here, there's your opening part of your pocket. This edge here is in line with that frame flap as it comes over. Okay? So the left flap on this side, when that comes over, that edge there lines up in line with the edge of your frame as it comes over. Okay? And it should all just sit in nicely. So the frame on the outside actually covers, make sure that covers everything. Okay, I think I cut that paper a little bit big on that side for some reason. Never mind. It's me and my measurements again. Right, okay, so that goes over. I think I did it because it lines up going across. There we are. Like so. And I'm going to put this one on the outside. I hope that helps, Deborah. If you need me to show you again, I'm quite happy to do that. Just give me a heads up. Right, okay. And this is directional paper, so I'm just making sure that that is up the right way and it sits nicely on the flap. Let's get rid of that glue, like so. So now we've done the outside of the little side pocket, the inside of the base, and we've done either side of the left flap. And then we're just going to do this top bit here, which is going to cover up where those other magnets are. So I'm just going to glue that on. And then we'll look at doing the frame. So we'll get all of these bits done and out the way. How are we doing for time? Okay. All right. All good, thanks. Perfect. Thank you for letting me know. Right, okay. So I'm just going to stick that on. You are very welcome, Deborah. Very welcome. Okay. Right. So now to the frame bit. I can't see white paper measurements. Okay. Right. I think I put on here, I haven't put any white paper measurements on here because if what I'm thinking you're saying is, are you talking about the photo mats, Susie? Because if you are, I've put photo mats all at the bottom with the white paper. Okay, is that what you mean? Let me know. All right. If you didn't have paper to go in there, because I've put coloured paper on the inside, but you could, you see, when I remove the photo mat from here, you'll see that I've put printed paper in the back. Perhaps that's what you mean. This is a photo mat, Susie, okay, which slides in, which obviously you would put your photo on, but in the background of the pocket, with the frame on the front, I've put in patterned paper, okay. So I'll just pop that to one side, see if that's what she means. She'll get back to us in a minute. Okay, so our frame on the outside then, so this paper sits just nicely on there, but again I need to cut out the middle, so I'm going to turn that over, and the measurements for here is 3/8 of an inch. So again, I've turned over, so I'm working on the back, and I'm just going to, let's just pop that up there, I'm just going to do 3/8 of an inch all the way round. Three-eighths of an inch all the way round in pencil, and then I will cut that out just exactly the same as we did for the frame, but the measurements are 3/8 of an inch rather than 1/2 an inch. So 3/8 of an inch. Let's just line that. Whoops, oh, I nearly had it then. Measure 3 times by the looks of it. Measure 3 times, cut. That's right, okay. Okay, and then do the other one. Okay, and now I can see where the pencil lines are on the back here. I can now cut out. Okay, right, so here we go. I'm going to go up to that line, down to that line, turn that round, 3/8 of an inch. Here we go, let's bring that over a little bit. Make sure I get these. So just down to that pencil line, and I'm going to turn it around and there we go, cut that line down to where the other one is. I can just pop those out. Right, so we've just got one more side to go. On the back page, sorry, I think my video is a little delayed. Oh, bless you. Okay, so on the back page I put patterned paper, if that's what you mean, but what I did in the original album was I stamped over the pattern paper to add a photo. Susie, hopefully you're okay. Alright, we'll just line this up. Final bit. Okay, it's very warm tonight and everything's sticking to my fingers. Right, okay, don't throw that away because you can use that for something else. Okay, the moment of truth. Is my frame going to fit? Dun dun dun. Near as damn it, look at that. We're almost, look at that, pretty much spot on. It is a little tight, but it does fit. Okay, but before I put this on, because on the outside I inked the paper, I'm going to quickly distress ink on the inside. And I could do the faux stitching, but to be honest, I think I'm going to leave the faux stitching for now. That's something I can go back and do later, because I appreciate that time is ticking on and we want to get our lovely album put together. And I need to show you the cover and everything as well. So I'm just going to glue this on. No, you're fine, Susie. Unfortunately, it's probably the light, you know. Oh, bless her. Right, okay. So I'm just going to add the glue on. And I'm going to start at one end. I won't be way around. So I can go back in and faux stitch on this later. That's not a problem. But I just want to make sure that we get the album finished. Right, and there we are. And that is the frame on the outside. So again, you can see I've picked up the colours from in here to have on the outside. The flap opens up. That opens up, and then we've got the papers in on the inside, and then we've got a little pocket there for putting that in. And that, would you believe, is all our pages done. The only pages that we haven't done is the ones that I only got so far decorating. So this is our album from last week. We've got 2 pages there. I never got to decorate this side, so let me just do this side, which is side 3, while everybody else, obviously you will have time to do this. Now with this particular side, I was going to put a magnet in, so that when that folds over, you've got a magnet there and a magnet there. So I'll do that just to show you. Okay, so I'll just spend 5 minutes gluing all of these on and doing the magnets, so you can see what I do with these. Okay, because obviously you can go back and spend a bit more time with your decorating. And if I don't say it at the end, I'll say it now. When you've finished your albums, please do take a video or photos and post them up on our Facebook page. I'd absolutely love to see what everybody's been doing. Would be amazing. Okay. Right, now because I want a magnet on that side, I'm going to stick a magnet down. So we're going to get 2 magnets, and exactly the same as I've done before. So find the end of the tape. Okay, so I'm just going to pop that on there, because then I can put the papers straight down. A little magnet, it's just to hold these 2 flaps in position while it's within the album. Okay, and pop that on there. Give that a little, so it's just going to hold down that corner like so. Like I said, if you don't want to use magnets, you could use Velcro dots, but obviously they'd have to go on the outside of your papers. I'm just using these magnets, and they'll be hidden underneath the patterned paper. Okay. Right. So we've got, this is the front, because I've corner rounded that. So I'm just going to stick that on. And just zoom through this fairly quickly, so you can see what the pages look like when they're done. Right, I'll just fold that in. Just again, always lining up paper edges with the back paper, just to make sure it looks all nice and uniform. This is the inside of that one. So again, I'm going with colours that sort of link in quite nicely, and they blend in. Right, let's put that on there like so. I'll just stick these down. There we go. Right, okay, and then we've got papers. I think I've used that on the outside. I'll just zoom through these. Hopefully this is giving other people a chance to catch up. Those of you that might be crafting along. I'm just zooming through these. There we go. Like so. And then the inside pocket. That will tuck in. There we go. Maybe a little bit more glue on there. Yes, so next week is our Craftywafty mini album, our birthday surprise mystery one. And I know some of you have already messaged to say that you've already cut out your papers and everything, so that's really exciting. I'm looking forward to doing that. Okay. Right, somehow I've cut that one too short, but never mind. It will stay on there for now. Okay, so that is that one done. And you've got the magnet that holds that on. So that's that page. I've been cutting things short, haven't I? Why have I been cutting things short? I'm just going to check. I'm going to check that measurement on our page. Where are we? Side 1, 2, 3, 4 opposite flaps, bottom pocket. Bottom pocket 1.5. Oh, okay. Why did I do it 1.5? 2.5. Perhaps that should have been 1 3/4. Okay. Oh well. It is what it is. It's stuck on there now. I'll have to stay like that. Right. Okay. And then our other sides here for this particular one. This was side 5, which is just all the little flaps and everything. So I can just stick those straight on. I'll just do this quickly. Now I can stick the outside one on, like so, but the inside will need some magnets to hold that flap down. Okay, so I'm just going to get another couple of magnets. So again, it's just showing you what I'm doing with the magnets more than anything, with apart from the actual decorating of the papers. So let's go. Right, we've got, so I'm going to have one on there because that's going to come down on this side. And it's just to help keep the album closed. Right, okay, and then we're just going to stick the other one on. There we go. Whoops. Yeah, little rascal. Right, stick you on there. Again, making sure that the tape I'm using doesn't go over that 1/8 of an inch gap at the side. And then we can put magnets on. We're doing 2 at the same time. A little bit of glue. So when I fold that over, and hopefully I've, oh, right, okay, I've just, now look, you can see here, I need to bring that one over a bit further. So let's just take that off. And pull that over, because that comes down a bit too far. Let's bring that down a bit so it misses that notch, but it will still hold it. There we go. There we are. Right. And a tiny little bit of glue on there. Oh, it's not quite enough glue, Deb. Right, okay. And hopefully that will work now. That will hold that down on that side. Perfect. Because obviously the flap doesn't come right the way down to the bottom of the page. So I'll just stick that on there. See if that works. Yes. Okay. so we can just quickly finish decorating these bits. Now that will just go in at the top. Like so. It's not directional, so that's fine. And I've corner rounded just so it matches in with the outer flap. I'll just pop these on, and then we've literally just got one more page to decorate and the outside of the album, and then we're going to be putting our pages together. I'll just stick that down on there. That's the pocket, and then this one's going to just tuck in. Hopefully it's going to tuck in. Oh, it's a little bit tight. Okay, do you know what? I'm going to leave that for the minute. I will trim that down and come back to that because I'm conscious of where we're at. All right, so we're almost there. And then the outside one here, I've got already prepped as well. So I've got Time to Travel, which will go on the outside of our, I think, that's why I need to show you this bit. Right, okay. On this one, which is the gatefold one, okay, with the triangular closure. Now, when you come to do the pattern papers, when we did the triangles, we just cut out one square, which was a 3.5 inch square, okay. Now, because of the pattern paper, depending on what paper you are using and if it's directional or not, the paper I'm using is directional, you'll need to cut out 2, okay? You'll need to cut out 2 of those squares, because when I cut that diagonal, that is going to sit fine on there, but the other half would then end up upside down, all right? So I just want to make sure that you know what to do when you come to this bit. Okay, so I'm literally going to cut that one diagonal. All right, that's got my wording up, so I know that that's going to fit fine on there. Okay, I will trim this down a little bit, but on the other side, again, when I come to do the other opposite corner, I need to cut it going the other way so that I know that these are going to fit, okay, and that you're going to have the lettering up the right way, okay, and that will sit on that pocket like so. Now, I do believe, I think I have cut these just a fraction too big, so I'm just going to take 1/8 inch off of these. Okay, just run it off the bottom, and hopefully that will sit better on there. So if I stick that on there, that should sit better on there. Okay, and I'm just going to do the same on here. I'm just going to take 1/8 inch off rather, off the bottom of this and off the side of here, just so that they will sit nicely. And that is just the fiddliest bit that you need to do for this particular page, okay, and then they will sit on those triangles now. And you can, I don't know if you can see, but you can see now that because I cut the 2, that the lettering is all the right way up. Okay, so I'm just going to tuck them to one side because I will get round to finishing this off. So you've done the pages 1 to 8, but only one hinge. I feel I may have recut the hinges. Okay, so I'm not quite sure what you've done. Let's put the pages in and see where you're at. Okay, so you should have let's just tuck that in there out of the way for a minute so I know that that belongs to that one. Okay, Let's just get all our pages lined up. So you should have the accordion page, and then you've got the envelope flap with a little pocket. Okay, so you've got two sides on one base page, which has got one hinge. Okay, that is going to attach on that side of that hinge. Then you should have your swivel. So I need two hinges for the 4 signatures. Right, so you need, right, okay. I think if you made the one hinge, okay, if you made the one hinge, then you would just need 2 base pages, but that will give you the 4 sides, Sam, okay? So you've got, so if you was just doing one hinge, you'd have side 1, side 2, side 3, side 4. And they would just stick either side, these 2 pages stick either side of that one hinge. That gives you your 2 base pages. Yes, as you are showing. Perfect. Okay. If you had 2 hinges, which we've got here, then you would need 4 base pages, because we've got 1 page, 2 page, 3 pages, okay, and then the 4th page here, which then gives you the other 4 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. And decorated 4, but only 1 hinge, so just need to recut the hinge bit. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, all right. So I think what we'll do is we'll get these hinges in, okay, and these pages in rather. Now, another cover with 1 hinge, so okay, that's fine. No problem. Right, at the end of the day, you can adapt these as much as you like. Okay, so for the accordion page, this is going to attach, the hinge is going to attach to the left hand side of this hinge. So I don't put the red line of tape on the front, I put it on the back, and that is what is going to line up and attach like so. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel this off. Now the beauty of the way that I've designed these albums is that the hinge is exactly the same length as the page, okay, so that when you come to fold that and stick it, you literally I just line it up, and I've buttered it up against that, and I'm just lifting that up, and that just sticks on, and I'm just going to hold that. Okay, now I know some people do hinges or attach their pages and they've mitered the corners and all the rest of it, but I just think doing it this way, it allows a better seal, okay, and you've got more strength to it. All right, so if you look now, here we are. So that accordion page is stuck to that side of the hinge, to the left hand side of the hinge. That's your page 1, page 2, okay, and then page 3, oh, it's this one, page 3 and page 4. So on this side of where side 3 is, I've put the red line of tape, because this bit is now going to stick on the other side of the hinge like so. Okay, so I'm going to peel that off like so. Okay, she's got it, Sam, great. Okay, I'm just going to run a bit of glue, and again I'm just going to turn that around. So now I'm coming the opposite side of that hinge. On that first hinge, I'm on the right hand side, and I just slide that up so it butts up the bottom of that page there, lines up, and I just hold that in place for a couple of seconds. Plus, the beauty of these hinges design that I did with this is that when you do open up the album, that the pages do lie nice and flat. Okay, so there we are. So that is our first 2 pages or 4 sides put in. Okay, so that flaps over nicely. Now we're coming on to this one. So this is my side 5. Now I haven't put red liner tape on here. I think I wanted to show you. So because it's going in on this side, I need to add the red liner tape like so. Oh, wrong one, Deb. There we are. I'll just find the red liner tape. Okay, I'm just going to attach that on there, give that a good rub down. Now, this is what I always say, when you come to putting your pages in, this is the time, obviously, I never put the red liner tape on until I've decided what order I'm putting my pages in, okay? But this one, because I already knew, so that's fine. But this is when you can swap things around. That's what I love about this album, is that if you're not happy with a page, you can take it out, you can put a different page in, okay? So this is now going to attach to the left hand side of the second hinge. So I'm just going to peel that back and run some squeaky glue squeaky glue down there like so. And again, I'm just going to butt that up, line it up. I'm just going to hold that in place. There we are. Just run my fingers along. Obviously I know I haven't completely finished decorating the album, but I can come back and do that a bit later. There we go. And then the final page is going to come in on this side, so that's the side that I need to put the red liner tape. So we're just going to pop that on. There we go. Okay. I'm just going to make sure that folds back nicely. Peel that off, add a bit of glue, and that is our pages all into our album. I'm just going to line this up. I think it just makes it so much easier to attach the album pages like this. Right, okay, so I'm just going to line those up, push that up, hold that in situ like so, and I'm just going to run my fingers along that just to make sure that that is nice and fixed firmly. There we go. Okay, and that is our pages in to our album. I'm just going to close that up for the minute and just make sure that they've got a good seal like so. So you can see you know, having one hinge or two hinges and how many flaps and that we've got in there. Well, I've made the album spine just a little bit bigger, because if you do put your photos in, you want to make sure that it still closes properly. Okay, right, let me just do the last little bit. Now obviously we're due to finish at 9 o'clock, however I'm happy to stay on a little bit longer if people are okay with that, just to do these final last little bits, if there's any questions or anything. So, and I always decorate the album at the end, okay, just to make sure that everything has been done and that they don't get ruined. Okay, so in there I've put a length of ribbon, so if you just cut that length of ribbon in half, right, here we go. Let's follow that. So I've picked this lovely sort of like bluey greeny colour. I'm just going to cut that in half. Now the album width, if I remember right, 5 inches, so I want to come in at the 2.5 inch mark. So the way I attach my ribbon is as I just put a little bit of red liner tape along there, okay, because I know that will hold it in place. Let's go for the slightly thinner stuff. I'm just going to snip a little bit, and I'm just going to attach that to one end. That'd be great, that's fine. You're welcome. So is it right? So I'm just going to attach this red liner tape to the end. I've gone about an inch or so in, okay, and I'm going to do that on both pieces. Right, okay, oops, stuff is sticking to my finger, something chronic tonight. Right, okay, I'm going to stick that on like so. I'm just going to push that down, and then what I'm going to do is that the ribbon, I'm just going to, right, let's have a little look. I'm just going to bring that up just a little bit. So to get it centre, I'm just going to centre it, but I don't want to stick the ribbon on with the red liner tape right to the edge. So when I stick that on, that's just going to come back just a fraction. I don't know if you, it's a bit hard. Let me turn it over and you can see what I mean. So I'm going to stick it there, and I'm just going to take that back a little bit. Okay, so it's not right against the ribbon. So I'll get the ribbon done first. You don't have to put ribbon on your album if you don't want to. I just think it looks, finishes it off, and I'm just using my ruler as a rough guide as to where that 2.5 inch mark is. Right, so that's the edge, just to get it roughly. Okay, I'll just stick that down, and then I'm just going to flip that over. Hi Joanne, nice of you to join us. Right, and I'm just going to stick the rest on the other end, just coming to the end. Right, so that's where put the crease in, that's where the edge is, so I can roughly work out now where that is, so it lines up with the other ribbon. Okay, so now we've got our 2 ribbons on board, like so, and I've got for the front of mine Wanderlust. Okay, I need to mount that on a bit of black cardstock, and I've got 2 pages here. So this is my front, which I thought was really nice because it shows a nice calming beach scene with just a little bit of detail. You've got a tiny little person here and having a little sunbathe, somebody on a little looks like one of those water ski thingies, jet skis, that's it. I couldn't think what they were called then. So I'm going to stick that down like so. A bit of glue, because I didn't want the paper to be too overpowering, because I wanted the, right, okay, now you can see where that is lining up. Again, just keeping that 1/8 of an inch guide like so, because when I come to put that on there, that will be mounted onto black card, then that will just pop out just enough. I didn't want it too OTT on the front. Okay, and now I've got the spine, so I'm just going to put the spine on, which has gone with the wording again, making sure that because it's directional that I've got the words up the right way. I just line that up. So again, I'm making sure that that line is following through all the way along, and then I'm going to flip that over, and I'm going to put the back on. Now I've gone for the same paper on the spine for the back, but you don't have to. You can obviously whatever papers you're using, and I'm just going to put that on. You can see why we put the ribbon on first, because obviously we're covering up those ends. And there we go. Right. And I just need a little bit of black card to do this bit. So is that going to fit? So I don't think I inked around the edge here, so I'm just gonna like so. And then I'm just going to quickly do my little faux stitching round here, just so it ties it all in with the rest of the album. Right, okay. I'm just going all the way along. Like so. And we're going to come along. Obviously, you can take your time with your decoration. Okay, now I've done that, I can just glue this on a bit of black card and then we'll just trim it down, and then we're going to put this on the front. Now on my original album I used some foam dots to lift it, which I will do the same here. So I'm just going to put that on. It's about the same sort of distance. Right, let's just trim that down. Line that up. Right, okay, I could do just a little trimming on that side. Like so. Trim that down on that side just to make sure it's all the same thickness all round the edge. That bottom one looks okay. All right, and then there's going to be my little wanderlust that's going to go on there. I think on the front of my other album I corner rounded it, okay, but there was quite a lot going on the front here, so I just wanted it to sit in the corner there. But this one I want to sort of bold it out a little bit. So let's just see what I've done with my foam dots. Now, I'm always one for utilising up bits. So when you've taken out all your little foam dots, I actually use the bit that's left over. And I'm just going to cut a strip. So waste not. Don't waste it all because it's useful stuff, this. I'm just going to stick that on the back. So I peel off the front bit. There we go. Let's stick that down in the centre because it does exactly the same job as the foam dots do. Bring the album together. Let's just tie those things, peel that back. Okay, and now I'm just going to sit that just in the corner, and I'm just going to make sure that that is sort of even space around there. And there we are. Oh my goodness, look at the time. 2 minutes past. Okay, and then obviously you just use the ribbon for tying up your bow like so. And one mindfulness album done. So I'll say goodbye to all of those that want to sort of disappear and finish, but I'll stay on for another 15 minutes or so and just go through a couple of the other bits. But if you want to stay, you're absolutely fine, but I do appreciate that. If you want to shoot off, that's fine too. But to those of you that are shooting off, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, next week is our birthday mystery album. Okay, so do please go along to craftywafty.co.uk and download the free cutting instructions for that, and I look forward to seeing you all next Thursday. Okay, so I'll say bye to everybody